And who is this gentleman bringing in a little bit of food for Biddy? Yes, it's Miley. Welcome back to the 2022 nesting season. And I'm finally delighted to be back talking about Biddy and Miley building their nest in 2022. We are back on the 9th of June, where Biddy was quite literally going into overdrive in building her nest. She brings in buckets of material today, and you can really see a transformation in the nest by the end of the video. And I'm going to steam through the nest building process to finally get on to where the eggs are laid. So there is going to be jam-packed content coming up in the next few videos. And indeed, we cover 4 days in this video, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and indeed the 12th, with Biddy's nest being nearly complete by the end of the video. So we can see here the nest cup is really starting to form, and I know I've touched on this a lot, but she is pushing that material outwards in the one spot continuously until there is a perfectly Biddy-shaped nest cup left for her to raise her young in. And as it stands at the moment, we can still very much see the wood underneath, which would be no good for eggs, so she needs to keep bringing in this material and keep packing out this nest cup until she is satisfied that those eggs will be safe and content in the nest cup. And you will see every so often Miley popping in and keeping her fed during this time. This is what the males blue tits do this time of year. They're keeping watch on the territory on the top of the tree and also feeding the female and making sure she is kept well fed and well energized while she's doing all the hard labor in building this nest. And I've noticed over the years that every bird has their own way of approaching nest building. Biddy always tends to hop between moss and dried grass. We suddenly saw a lot of dried grass coming in, and now it seems to switch back to moss. So I do wonder, is there method in this madness of layering this material to form a nice weaved nest cup? And we can see by 3 o'clock, just look at that amount of material that has came in. The moss is getting more and more compact outside the nest cup, and now it's starting to encroach in onto the bottom of the nest cup. And quite soon, the wooden bottom of the nest box is going to be out of sight for us. And indeed, Biddy had no plan of slowing down. And why would she, when she's being very well fed by Miley there? So without a doubt, the 9th has been by far the most productive day of nest building, without a doubt. She worked right up until 7 o'clock and the nest was really starting to come together. And indeed, she's so impressed with her own work that she even brings in a little bit of soft material. And we'll see more of this material come in the following few days. And this brings us swiftly on to the 10th. And after all that high speed action, I think it's time we see Biddy at normal speed, and this is her building her nest. So she's continuing to do loads of nesting shuffles, pushing that material ever tighter and tighter against the walls of the nest box, and in doing so, strengthening that nest cup. And Biddy will often do this for quite a while, and then eventually pick up a little piece that she doesn't like the look of and fly out with it. And then, quite confusingly, come back with it just a few seconds later with the exact same piece still in her beak. And then straight back to nesting shuffles. And Biddy continues this behaviour for the next minute or so, but then eventually decides that the nest is ready for its next step. Fluffy material, and lots of it, and we're going to start seeing Biddy bringing in a lot of this. So this means, where the nest is concerned, Biddy is happy with the nest cup as it stands at the moment, and now wants to start bulking that out with softer material to insulate and protect and indeed hide those eggs when they're laid. And with that little bit of normality shown to you, we're going to go back into a little bit of a speed run where the nesting building is concerned. So, as Biddy leaves now, she comes back twice as fast as she's been going previously. As I want to speed through the nest building process and get to the point of their eggs and indeed chicks being, so we can really start looking at this nesting season of 2022. As it just seemed everything has been getting in the way of me editing these videos. And so the tent continued as it started, bringing in loads of material, which coupled between soft material and some coarse material like dried grass, and kind of mixing up the two, and we can see the nest cup is really starting to form quite a cute little nest cup. And it's going pretty plain sailing for Biddy now. It's been a textbook year so far, but coming up even in this video, things start taking a little bit of a turn. Now, don't worry, it's nothing crazy, but there is a little bit of competition for the next nest box coming up. But it's not until the 11th that this drama really starts to unfold. And the 11th of June starts like the day before, with loads of nesting material, soft nesting material and beautiful feathers being brought in by Biddy. And I must say, she is making a beautiful nest this year. It still has that classic Biddy look where it's kind of messy, but there is certainly method in the madness. And we see Biddy here just taking a breather in her new comfortable nest. See her there closing her eyes. What a beautiful moment to catch. But these moments are few and far between for Biddy, and you can see her work, certainly at this time of year, does not stop for anyone. She has to kickstart herself, but eventually she does. She starts bringing in more material like we've been seeing over the past few days. I often wonder just how tired do the blue tits get, as this really do seem to just work tirelessly. And so we've reached a part of the video where some problems start arising for Biddy and Miley. We see the rival pair arriving at the nest box. The female hops in straight away, and how do I know it's a female? Well, she has the audacity to do some nesting shuffles in Biddy's nest. This is not good news for Biddy, as it means this bird is very interested in her nest, and she may very well try to take it over. Biddy seems to be unaware of this, as she's back a few hours later continuing to tend to her nest. And I can promise you that it's not the last we're going to see of that rival pair. Over the coming few days, we see more and more of them, and their advances getting cheekier and cheekier as the days go on. And on the 11th, Biddy is continuing to build her nest right up until 8 o'clock. And indeed, she actually stays the night in the nest. And indeed, why shouldn't she? She's done so much work and put in so much care to make that nest as soft and as cozy as possible. And on the morning of the 12th, we can see her getting up bright and early at 6:15 to start her day. And she wastes no time in continuing to build her nest. She's really putting a lot of work into her nest building this year. But just a few hours later, we notice that the rival pair eventually come back. We see Biddy building her nest, and then she leaves at around 10 o'clock. And just 10 to 15 minutes later, the male of the rival pair arrives in the nest box. He hunkers down in the corner and tries to prompt the female to come in and take another look. And she hops in and has a good look around the nest box and gives us quite a close-up view of herself before promptly leaving. And Biddy, not soon after, just continues to build her nest. Whether she's aware of these intruders, perhaps she has chased them away yet again, or indeed she is none the wiser that these intruders are coming into her nest. And that is really anyone's guess. My guess would be a combination of both. I'd say sometimes she comes back and the rival pair around and they posture and display and chase each other away. And while other times the rival pair sneak in and out without being noticed. So we have covered a huge amount in this video. And indeed Biddy's nest is very much complete. But there's a lot of drama to come. So we'll see you in the next video.